If you go to a financial planner today and tell them you're 50 or more years old with zero savings, they're going to look at you with pity. They'll type your numbers into a calculator and tell you that you need $2.5 million to retire.
When you hear this, you don't feel motivated, you feel paralyzed. It feels so impossible that most people just give up. They figure, if I can't win the game, why even play?
But the problem with those standard retirement calculators is they weren't built for people like us. Usually, these tools just crunch numbers like your age, your current savings, and inflation to tell you how much of a nest egg you need to survive.
They're designed for people who started saving in their 20s and never had to hit the reset button. But when you're starting over at 50, those projections just look like a giant, impossible mountain. You don't need a tool that tells you how far behind you are. You need a strategy designed for where you are at this stage of your life.
Exactly. So today, we're moving past those overwhelming targets that make you want to give up before you even start. We're going to answer the question, is it actually possible to catch up? The answer is yes, but you have to be willing to change your strategy and your vision.
We have to stop trying to run a race designed for someone else. When you're rebuilding, you need to run with a new level of endurance and discipline. To win this race, you have to be willing to shed the weights that are holding you back. We realized we couldn't focus on just trying to get rich. We had to focus on what it means to truly rebuild with clarity.
But here's the thing. You can't find that clarity until you're willing to look at the truth of your life. For a long time, we were just going through the motions, trying to maintain or gain a lifestyle that we thought looked like success to everyone else, but it wasn't getting us any closer to true freedom.
I remember a day that changed everything for us. I just spent some time at the beach with a friend from my cycling group. But that day, I came home and I told Terry, even though it was beautiful at the beach today, I didn't feel at home like I normally do. I just don't feel that peace anymore.
Yeah, I remember replying that I can't tell you how relieved I was to hear you say that. I had actually been thinking about moving to Spokane for a long time. I used to visit my grandfather there when I was younger, and I always loved it. But I was so worried about telling Donna because I knew her heart was tied to the California coast and the water. Even though we were living in a nice house in a nice neighborhood north of San Francisco, I knew we both needed to make a change.
When we finally got it all out in the open, we realized we were holding on to a home that wasn't actually giving us peace. We were in a beautiful area, but we couldn't afford the future life that we truly wanted by staying there. So we looked at our situation clearly and called a realtor.
That day was a start of a great move towards our real dreams. We actually moved a year later, and even though it was incredibly hard leaving our friends and starting over, it was one of the best decisions we ever made. We traded prestige for peace.
But you can't run this race effectively if your identity is still tied to your house or your zip code. That is why we created our master blueprint. It isn't just about the math. It starts with building a foundation that is unshakable so you can choose freedom over appearance. It's a step-by-step guide we use to move from being behind to being free. You can find the link for that below. Also, check out our blogs at our website. Through the process of rebuilding, you learn how to create a new vision for your future and take action, a plan that actually makes the numbers work.
Absolutely. Once you have that vision, then the math actually starts to work. And there are 3 strategic adjustments you can make right now to catch up. The first is the catch-up contribution. If you're over 50, the IRS actually lets you put more money into your 401k and IRA than a 30-year-old is allowed. It's like a supercharged lane that accelerates your growth. Also, if you have a job with a match and you aren't maxing this out, you're totally walking away from free money.
The second adjustment is value-aligned income. For a long time, I thought catching up meant I had to chase the highest paying job possible, even if it didn't fit who I was. But by moving and lowering our cost of living, I was actually able to find a job in higher education, a field that I love, that paid less but gave me so much more peace. Because our expenses were lower, we didn't just save more, we actually started living more. We finally had the time and the resources to go skiing and camping and hiking in this beautiful place that we now call home.
The third adjustment is lifestyle arbitrage. This is the biggest move we made. It's the process of relocating from a high cost area where your paycheck is swallowed up by housing and taxes to a place where your money actually has room to breathe. By moving, we were able to unlock the equity in our home, wipe out our debt, and stop pouring our resources into this massive mortgage.
It's about more than just a cheaper zip code. It's about regaining control of one of your most valuable assets, your time. It feels radical because society tells you that you have to stay in the right neighborhoods to be successful. But it ultimately comes down to what you value more: the appearance of wealth in a place that stresses you out, or the reality of freedom in a place that gives you peace. For us, we were actually able to afford a beautiful home with the balcony of my dreams, living close to nature, and the activities that we love.
Now, is it possible to catch up? Absolutely, if you're willing to redesign your life. But it starts with having a plan that covers more than just the bank account. If you're ready to start your own rebuild, click the link in the description to check out our master blueprint. It's the exact system we use to find our clarity and our freedom.
And if you're wondering where to even begin looking for a new start, you won't want to miss our next video. We're going to dive deep into geographic freedom and how we traded a big mortgage for a better life.
I'm Terry,
And I'm Donna.
and we'll see you in the next video.